Okay, Amelia, we've been here over 2 months here in Kuala Lumpur, so I think it's time to do our exploratory trip analysis video. We're going to look at 10 factors that matter most to us and probably to you if you're looking for a place to move to abroad. So we're going to give each factor a thumbs up or a thumbs down and then let you know at the end if we think Kuala Lumpur is a good place to move to abroad.
All right, so we're going to start with the language barrier, and I have to say it has been a lot easier to communicate here than I was anticipating.
I've noticed that there's 3 different types of countries. The first type is if you move there, you're going to have to learn the local language because most people do not speak English. Like if you go to an emergency room, there's a good chance the doctor and the nurse are not going to speak English. Countries in Latin America mostly fall into that. There are pockets of English-speaking cities mainly where you can go and speak English pretty easily. But for the most part, you're going to have to learn Spanish in Latin America. The next type is where everybody speaks English, but they expect you to learn their local language. France and Spain fall into that category, and a lot of the other European countries. It's understandable. Then there's the third type of country like Malaysia, where almost everyone speaks English and they do not expect you to learn Malay. We found the same thing to be true in Albania. They don't expect you to learn Albanian, and it makes it really easy for us old-timer English speakers to not have to try to master a new language in our 50s.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I was so surprised by the amount of English that we've been hearing on the radio, just reading on the signs. And like JP said, almost everybody here in Kuala Lumpur speaks English. So I got to give the language barrier here a huge thumbs up because there really isn't one at all.
The next factor we always like to look at is safety and stability. And it's so safe here. We walk around at night by ourselves. We've had locals tell us we don't have to worry about our safety. We've seen a couple of signs to watch out for pickpockets in tourist areas, but for the most part, it's extremely safe here.
Yes, and I have felt safe going out by myself. Nobody has bothered me. And I see a lot of other people out walking by themselves all the time. I mean, of course, you always need to be aware of your surroundings and when you're in a crowded area, but I just don't feel nervous when I'm out and about. Also, the Global Peace Index ranked Malaysia as number 10, which is, to me, a really good sign.
Yeah, it is. And Amelia went out and filmed her own solo vlog, the very first and only solo vlog she's done on our channel. So if you missed that, you should check it out next. It's awesome. I'm so impressed with the work she did on that.
Thank you.
But she did that all by herself, out filming on the street and the shops and stuff, and she didn't have it, wasn't worried about anything.
No, not at all. I'm giving Kuala Lumpur a thumbs up as well because we both feel very safe here.
Yep, we do. All right, next up are weather and natural disasters. I'm going to let Amelia talk about this. She's struggling with the weather.
I'm struggling with the heat and the humidity. I have been very hot and pretty sweaty here. Quite a bit, and it's not my favorite feeling. And I like to be outdoors, and it's hard to enjoy the outdoors because sometimes the heat has just been draining. And I mentioned this in our last video that we were out recording, and after 2 hours we were just drenched, and the life was just kind of sucked out of us. We had to come home and recover. But then I also am not a huge fan of air conditioning, so I'm grateful for the air conditioning, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it bugs my sinuses. So it's a bit of a rough adjustment for me here.
The day we went out and filmed, it was only 87 degrees, which is pretty warm, but it was really humid. But yesterday it was 95 degrees Fahrenheit and humid, and it was just too hot to go outside. We didn't actually go out until after the sunset because it was too hot. So that is a big bummer. They also have a lot of rain here, monsoon season, and it rains a lot most afternoons, and occasionally they get a typhoon. There was one that just went north of here and hit Vietnam and Thailand, and so I would say that the weather and natural disasters aren't great. I'm going to give this a thumbs down.
I got to give it a thumbs down too. Sorry, Kuala Lumpur. We love the city, but there is definitely a strong adjustment period if you are not used to heat and humidity. I actually don't mind the rain that much, but the heat is rough.
Health insurance and health care are next, and that's the main reason we came here actually was to get health care. Well, one of the main reasons. We did our health screening here. We talked about that in a different video. And I got to say, I'm really, really impressed with the healthcare here. It's a similar cost as it was in Ecuador, so it's a lot less in the United States. It's It's all the doctors and nurses. Everybody speaks English in the hospital that we went to, Prince Court. We had such a positive experience. I can't speak highly enough about the healthcare here.
Well, and I like too that just as in many other countries, we're able to go and get prescriptions filled without a prescription. You just go up and ask for it in the pharmacy. So the ease of getting your medication is really nice here. The pharmacists speak English as well, which makes it a huge plus.
Yeah, it does. And you can WhatsApp them. Like I can WhatsApp the hospital to make an appointment or cancel an appointment. I can WhatsApp the doctor. It's amazing. It's so easy to communicate with them. You can get appointments the same day. So Amelia had an appointment in the morning and they told her she needed to see another doctor. She got in a couple hours later the same day. I was able to get appointments for the next day a couple of times. It's so nice here.
They do have a public system, which we have not used, but we have been very pleased with the private system. And what I find very interesting is that there are multiple private hospitals that cater to the locals and to tourists because medical tourism is a big thing here. And they are competing for business, and that helps to keep the prices really competitive.
Yeah, we heard on the radio there was an advertisement for one of the hospitals that said if the ambulance ride is less than 20 minutes, I think it was 20, something like that, it was free. So you get a free ambulance ride to go to these hospitals. That's what happens when you have a nice competitive system where they're all working for your business. It keeps those prices down and the service quality up.
So I think we need to give healthcare a big thumbs up.
I wish I'd give them 2 thumbs up for healthcare.
Well, you can. 2 thumbs up.
It is pretty awesome. All right, let's talk about housing next. And we're not going to go into a ton of detail in this video about housing because we're organizing a real estate tour right now. So be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see that video when we publish it.
We do need to talk a little bit about housing. This is a condo lifestyle. There are some single family homes, but really you're looking at condo living. So if you like that, you're going to be happy here in Kuala Lumpur. And we've really enjoyed it because so many of the buildings have everything you need either in the same building or just within a couple block radius. So they're designed where you can get to everything within 15 minutes, and that's walking. So you do not need a car, which is really important to us.
We did hear from someone in our comments of a previous video that they're renting here long-term for $500 a month in a nice condo building. And we've seen some other videos on YouTube for anywhere from the $500 to $1,000 per month that you can get a really nice place for that, and it's really affordable. So I think we're going to give housing a big thumbs up for Kuala Lumpur, assuming you're a condo type person.
Exactly. Okay, what's up next?
Next up are food and restaurants, and a lot of people love Kuala Lumpur for the food. Mostly the street food that is what's so popular here. Unfortunately, it's not really the type of food that we eat, but I can see why people would like it.
Yeah, it is extremely popular here, and you do get a wide variety of food that is pretty cheap. And it's not just Malay. You can get Indian, Chinese, all sorts of stuff. But there's a wide variety of restaurants here. International cuisine. We've had Mexican food. We've had
good Mexican too.
Good Mexican, Japanese, American food. If you're into burgers, you can find it all here, and it's well priced.
Mm-hmm. There are lots of different grocery stores too. We found one called Jaya, I think, in the Lala Port Mall. It's kind of like a Whole Foods version of an Asian market. It's like a high end. You can find anything you want, and there are all kinds of specialty Asian foods, which we really like. And there's several grocery stores around. There's also little shops in each of the neighborhoods, so you can really just stay right local if you want to and get almost everything that you need, including restaurants.
Yes, I've been extremely happy because I've been able to find the Asian spices and Indian spices that I love. So we've actually been cooking a lot. They have really affordable produce here. I got to give food and restaurants a thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely. It's super easy to eat too much here.
Yes, it is.
Next up is walkability and public transportation. And I got to say, I don't think it's very walkable. I know Amelia is going to disagree with me on this.
I do disagree.
Because sometimes you have to walk like 10 or 15 minutes just to cross a street. And if you want to do it at a crosswalk. So then you see people crossing without a crosswalk and like playing Frogger between cars coming and going in different directions. And sometimes you'll be walking down a sidewalk, it'll turn into a construction zone with a busy road, and you're like hugging up against the barricades for the construction zone, trying to like walk by without getting hit. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of walking here.
Okay, so I do agree with that. There is some issues with walking. It is not the most walkable place we've been to, especially compared to like France, for example. However, I would argue, and I have argued, that we have been here for 2 months and we have walked all over the place. The key to walking here is you have to learn your way around. So you have to kind of get out and explore, and then you find the best ways to go, because we've found shortcuts and we've been able to avoid some of those tricky walking areas. So that's why we're having a debate on this topic, because I think that if it is walkable compared to some places in the US, for example, that you have to have a car, you do not have to have a car here.
No, you don't. And they also have a lot of public transportation options. So they have the monorail, they have a train system, they have a bus system, they have taxis, and then we use Grab a lot. The Grab app, it's like Uber, only it's here. They do food delivery too, and grocery shopping and all that stuff. But the Grab, only costs us like $2 or $3 to drive from like here to the other side of the downtown area. It's extremely affordable. So we use that almost every day.
Yeah, when we're not walking.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to give walking and public transportation, for me, it's a thumbs down.
For me, it's a thumbs up. So I guess that means it's a thumbs sideways. Okay.
And also the heavy traffic. Sometimes it's really hard because of all the traffic. So I don't know. I'm sticking with my thumbs down.
I'm sticking with my thumbs up. We don't have to agree on everything.
No, I'm not used to that though. We almost always agree. All right. So next up is quality of life. That's the next factor. This is like things to do, cultural and social activities, like the local friendliness, just everything that makes your life worth living in a place. And Kuala Lumpur's got a lot going for it.
Yes, it does. First of all, there are a lot of different expat groups. You are not going to feel lonely here, because it's really easy to plug in with other like-minded people from all over the world, because this is a really big hub for other people to come and work. And there's retirees here too. So you're going to find people from all different age groups. Also, because so many people, basically everybody, speaks English, it makes it a lot easier to communicate and make friends.
Yeah, so we've been to some Internations events, and literally people from all over the world are there. We met people from Barbados, Ghana in Africa, Indonesia, China, Thailand, and Vietnam. I mean, all over the place. Brazil, the Philippines. And the one thing we all have in common is English. So everybody is there talking to each other in English here in Malaysia. They're not talking in Malay. It makes it super easy to really connect with other people, not just other expats from the US, but expats from all over the world and countries from all over the place.
And you're also going to find there are a lot of things to do, like arts and crafts, and you can find different types of gyms and like exercise stuff, yoga, martial arts. We went to a cat cafe, which was super fun. I loved it. And
Amelia was attacked by a cat as soon as we walked through the door. A cat just climbed right up the side.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
She was so worried she was going to get cat scratch fever. Got a cat in your throat?
I guess I have a hairball.
There's also lots of cultural activities, museums. There's the Batu Caves. We haven't even been there yet. We're going to go do that tomorrow.
I know. I'm so excited to go to that. So yeah, there's a lot of temples and festivals. There's going to be the Diwali festival here next week. There's going to be that going on. So much to do.
You have the bird park.
Yes.
Where we went, and Amelia held a bird, and it climbed on her. And we saw all kinds of beautiful birds there. There's the botanical garden. It has an orchid garden in it, which was beautiful. There are all kinds of there's the Echo Park.
There's the KLCC Park, which you could just go in and enjoy walking around. I love those massively big banyan trees, and it's nice that that's right in the city. And then you have the mall culture, which I find fascinating, but the more we've been here, the more it makes sense. So now we're going to the mall during the day if we need to get some exercise and walking around so we're not dripping in sweat. But they're designed to keep you in them all day long, because they've got shopping, they have various forms of entertainment, like that Times Square one has that massive amusement park. The Lalaport has the roller rink. I mean, there's all sorts. The cafe.
The cafe. You can go hang out there for all day if you want to.
Yeah, Pavilions has a whole area of different things to do, and it's nice because you can just walk and walk and walk.
And the TRX Mall, they have an entire park. The whole roof of the mall is a park. It's like a city park with a walking trail that goes through a tropical forest. It's unbelievable. That's actually my favorite mall. But I think the mall culture here is fascinating. It's a lot like Starbucks in the US. If you look out the door of one mall, you're going to see another mall on the other side of the street. They're everywhere here.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And there's also an evening culture, and that's been a little bit of an adjustment for us, but I get it because it's hot during the day, so people go out at night so they can avoid the strength of the sun because we're pretty close to the equator here.
Yeah, it's really nice out in the evenings. Usually there's a little bit more of a breeze. And so people kind of head out around 7 when the sun sets, and they go out and have dinner and walk around and socialize. And I don't know, we find the quality of life, I think it would be really high here. Ours has been for the 2 months that
Yes.
we've been here. So we're going to give this a big thumbs up.
Agreed.
All
Thumbs
right,
up.
next up, if we're going to talk about quality of life, then, it's really important to a lot of you. And unfortunately, it's suffering for a lot of you in the world right now, especially if you can't afford your cost of living. So that's why we created our Move Abroad Express e-course, because it's going to help you live a higher quality of life for a lower cost of living by helping you move abroad.
Yes, it is so important to take control of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the course has over 50 videos, tons of written content, walks you through every step of the process for moving abroad so that it takes out all that mystery and gives you a peace of mind. And it's going to save you a lot of money too, because we have a lot of money saving tips in there.
And you also become members of our private and supportive community. And of course, you have lifetime access, which includes all the updates we do periodically.
Yeah, so we decided to extend the discount for another week so you guys can lock in that discount now. You just check out this QR code here, wherever it is on the screen, or go to ameliaandjp.com/MAE to enroll today.
Okay, what's next? Time zone, distance from the US. Okay, well, this is rough.
Yeah, it's 12 hours difference from East Coast time here. So that's what, 13, 14, 15 hours from Pacific. But then next week is going to be worse. After daylight savings time in the US, it goes to 13 hours from East Coast and 16 to Pacific. So really, we're asleep pretty much during the work day. We go to bed when people in the US start to work, and then we wake up when they're leaving work. So it makes it really rough if you want to work from here.
Yeah, it's been a challenge for me. I miss my afternoon chats with my mom because I can't call her in the middle of the night, and vice versa. Sorry, Mom, I don't want to talk to you at 1 a.m. And I know you don't want to talk to me at 1 a.m.
Yeah, my mom got confusing calls in the middle of the night one time. And of course, I was freaking out that something was wrong. And when I answered, she said, nothing's wrong. I just forgot what time it was. So it's a challenge being so far away.
If you're working, this could definitely be a challenge for you. You're going to have to adjust your schedule. Luckily, it is a late night culture, and there are places that are open 24 hours here. So it is doable, and we're making it work, but it's an adjustment as well. So I got to give it a thumbs down.
Yeah, for the time barrier, the distance from the U.S. or anywhere in the Western, well, in the Americas.
Well, and that actually, we didn't even mention that, but it's not an easy trip to get back to the U.S. either. So if something happens and we need to hightail it back, it's a slow travel.
Yeah, we're looking at least 30 hours. Maybe it could be even up to 40 hours to go from here back to see our family in the U.S. So that's brutal.
It is.
Brutal. All right, next up is cost of living. And again, we're going to do an entire video sharing all of our costs since we've been here in Kuala Lumpur. You guys are going to be shocked at how affordable it is. Yeah, this is a fully developed country, or a city. The whole country, maybe not, but the city is fully developed. They have an IKEA, Starbucks all over, coffee shops on every corner, pretty much. They have Cartier and Dolce & Gabbana. I mean, they have everything that a developed city should have. They have it here, all the public transportation. I think we could comfortably live here full time for less than $2,000 a month.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah, and that would be living in a really nice place too.
Yeah.
I mean, our cost of living here, it's been shocking. It's way less than even Albania, which is the cheapest that we had during our time in Europe. And it's less than Ecuador.
It is less than
Even
Ecuador.
though the healthcare is similar, the cost of other things is a lot less.
Yeah. So
yeah, big thumbs up for cost of living. And remember, hit the subscribe button so that you see our cost of living video when we get ready. So before we share our final verdict on Kuala Lumpur, we want to just briefly talk about the residency visa options, because if you want to live here, you got to have some sort of a visa.
They have a few options for visas. The MM2H, which is for Malaysia, is their second home version of a visa. It's not quite as straightforward as some of the other ones out there, but you definitely can make that work.
They also have a digital nomad visa, a medical tourism visa, and we actually talked to the hospital about that, or doctor, and the hospitals will help you get that. So if you come here for health stuff like we have and you need to extend your stay with a medical visa, the hospital will help you do that. So that's nice. And there's a work visa if you want to come here and get a job.
Tourism, you can do a 90-day tourist visa.
Yeah, we were told that they do allow one visa run. So after 90 days, you can go to the next country and come back. But after more than one, they kind of frown upon that. They may not let you back in, but if you leave for 90 days and come back, it's probably not going to be an issue. It's what we've been told.
Yeah, but don't
Please
quote us
verify
on
for
that.
yourself, yes.
Because you never know. Personally, I'm not a fan of taking risks like that, but if you're a risk taker, maybe you're okay with that. I don't know. I just go, for us, I do the digital nomad.
Yeah. So if you want all of the specifics about the visas, we have that in our Move Abroad Toolkit. It's a free download. It has the visa matrix and a visa report that includes all of the top countries that we recommend if you want to move abroad. So check below for that link and you can download that right now. All right. So what's the final verdict here, Amelia?
Well,
yes, no, or maybe?
I think it's a big yes, big thumbs up.
Yeah,
What
we
did
gave it 7 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down, and 1 sideways.
Sideways, because we were not in accord.
Yeah, so it's definitely still on our short list. It's right up there with Dijon and Tirana for me.
Agreed. I really like it.
The main issue is it's so far away from our families. That's the main issue why we wouldn't want to spend like full time here.
Yeah, the heat, I know that I will adapt, and I already have. You just learn to live with it, just like you do, summers in Texas, right? Or wherever it's hot in the
Chicago.
US. Yeah, Chicago. Or winters in Chicago.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, what do you think? Is Kuala Lumpur, is it on your list now, or is it off your list, or was it ever on your list? Just let us know in the comments what you think about KL. And they call it KL here, the locals do. So I like that as someone who uses initials for his name. It's really common here. When I say JP, they're like, oh, JP. In Ecuador, they're like, what? JP, what is that? But here, they totally understand what my initials mean.
They do. That's a really good point, because you're right. In lots of Latin countries, they do not understand that JP is actually his name.
Yeah, and I would say Outtake, and they're like, Outtake? They just could not understand that I went by initials. So then I just started saying Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, it is. We went to 10 countries during our first year of exploratory trips. So check out this video next if you want to see the places that we like most and least.
And click this link right here to check out the Move Abroad Express e-course and to lock in your discount.
All right, guys, that's all we have for this video. Before you go, leave us a like. As always, we appreciate that, and we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.